skip over that. Well, okay guys, look, I'm really proud of this diagram. This is my best graphical design effort ever, and I did it in Visio. And what I attempted to show was what the balance of payments was all about in one page. So let's just quickly talk about it. So look, the balance of payments tries to measure the trade flows, or does measure the trade flows between us and the rest of the world. Now those trade flows need financing, so the balance of payments also measures the financial flows between us and the rest of the world. And what I've done is I've included the foreign exchange market, because we know that if we want to buy foreign goods, we've got to change our New Zealand dollars into foreign currency, and likewise, if the rest of the world wants to buy from us, they have to take their dollars and change them into New Zealand dollars. And that's all done by the foreign exchange market. Now, what I should say in terms of balance of payments accounting, the accounting is always done in New Zealand dollars. Okay, let's move on. So, here is the balance of payments. This is what you're going to be working with. So look, let's just get in here and have a look. Okay, so look, it's got the current account, and the current account is made up of these four sub-accounts, if you like. The balance of goods, so that's basically just physical imports and exports of physical goods, things like bales of wool and cheese going to the rest of the world, things like cars and TVs coming from the rest of the world to New Zealand. This one here, services, it's recording things like shipping, air travel, insurance, financial services. So for instance, if an Aussie gets on an Air New Zealand plane, they're actually purchasing an export from New Zealand. If some of you get on Qantas, then you're actually importing a service from Australia. Shame on you. Alright, this one here is the primary income balance, and it basically deals with the interest and dividend payments that we owe to the rest of the world, and the interest and dividend payments that the rest of the world owe to us. And this one down here, secondary income, look, it's a minor sub-account, if you like. It's basically just deals with foreign aid. It's a contra account. I used to get into the ins and outs of it, but I mean, I don't anymore. Some of you will know what a contra account is. Alright, so that's the current account. Now the overall balance at the moment is in surplus. So that means that a net inflow is being generated. Now look, when you export stuff, so here's a, I don't know what's this, a round bale of wool, okay, if that's going overseas, then it generates an inflow of cash, doesn't it, into New Zealand. Likewise, if this represents a TV and it's coming to New Zealand, then we've got to pay for it, so that importation represents an outflow. And what we're going to learn is that the inflows and the outflows overall must balance. That's why we're talking about the balance of payments. Alright, so, okay, so let's just move up a bit. This one here, the capital account, it's small, it's insignificant. Basically it just deals with migrant flows of assets, so it just captures the assets that people moving to New Zealand bring with them. Likewise, it captures the sale or purchase of things like patents and copyright, the sale and purchase of things like land. Alright, so moving down the page. Now look, here's the biggie, the financial account. Now, this one here, New Zealand Investment Board, that's going to generate an outflow, isn't it? We've got to send the money out, effectively or figuratively, if we're going to buy overseas financial securities or overseas businesses. So that should really, that's really an outflow or a negative usually. Now this one here is foreign investment in New Zealand, alright. So this is foreigners bringing their money in to buy a share of New Zealand businesses or to buy some, or to invest in financial assets. So that's got to be an inflow, isn't it? Here's the certificates of ownership going out, if you like. That's what they're buying. And here's the inflow coming in. This last category down here is really net errors and admissions, and it's just due to, it just makes sure that things balance, and it really results from not being able to measure accurately the ins and outflows due to timing differences or whatever. So this is, if you like, the balancing item, a bit like inventory is the balancing item when we do GDP calculations. Alright, well look, if I just change colour, maybe I'll just talk about some of these things. So that's direct investment. Look, direct investment, if you have, I think, more than a 10% ownership in a business, that's regarded as direct investment. Portfolio investment is where, you haven't got that 10% ownership and you're just basically buying shares. Financial derivatives, that's quite, sophisticated financial securities and things. This one here, other investment assets. Basically, that's where bank borrowing is recorded. Things like trade credits. So just because it's got the name other doesn't mean that it's insignificant. And this one here, this one only appears once. Reserve assets, that records the reserves assets of the Treasury and the Reserve Bank. They might have foreign currency deposits, they've got special drawing rights, all of that kind of thing. But again, I'm not expecting you to get into the detail. So I'm not expecting you to remember all of this. Not expecting you to remember all of this. All I want you to know is that the balance of payments has a current account. Oops. Has a current account. Has a capital account. Has a financial account, and has a balancing item, which we call net errors and admissions. So basically, that's the balance of payments. I am expecting you though to be able to get into the detail of the current account. You must be able to calculate a current account balance, given some of these sub-account balances. So given some of these things, I expect you to be able to come up with a current account balance. Right, moving on. So here's my best representation of New Zealand. Well, it's not my best, but it'll do. So if we have an outflow, and we have for many years, then what I'm saying to you, it's got to be balanced by an inflow. It's like if you're overspending on your income, you've got to generate an inflow, and you usually go and do that by borrowing from the bank. Alright. So what we've got here is a current account deficit. That means that we're basically buying more from the rest of the world than the rest of the world is buying from us. And that must always equal the surplus on the capital account and financial account. So what I'm saying to you is that the current account deficit represents the outflow, and the surplus on the capital and financial accounts, this thing here, represents the inflow. It's as simple as that. Alright, turning the page. So what I want to do is just want to discuss the accounting rules. So as I've said, that, here's a bale of wool and we export it. That generates an inflow as somebody pays for it. Likewise, over here, here's a TV, and we import that, and so we've got to pay for it, so that represents an outflow. Now, inflows, show them as credit amounts, or you can show them as positive amounts. I prefer positive, really. I'm a bit of a scientist at heart. And here we've got the outflows, and you can show those as debits or negative amounts. Again, I prefer that. Right, just something else I need to tell you too. So if you've got, we'll have foreign assets, won't we? We own factories overseas. And we'll have foreign liabilities, like we'll have to repay our bonds when the certificates are presented to us. Now, what's going to happen if our foreign assets go down or if our foreign liabilities increase? That's shown as a credit. If it's the other way around though, if our foreign assets increase or our foreign liabilities come down, that's shown as a debit. Yeah, just straight accounting. All right. Now look, if you want more detail on what those various sub-accounts contain, so these are the sub-accounts for the current account, then you just come and look at this page. But what I need to say is that we're looking at the latest balance of payments format. It's changed within about the last year, maybe 2 years. And so this description here is really talking about the primary balance. And this description here, which is current transfers, is talking about the secondary balance. I think that's about all I need to say, really, on that. Here's the capital account. Now look, this one makes me laugh. The purchase and sale of non-produced, non-financial assets. And so non-produced means that it's already there, it's present. And so it must be talking about are things like land or mineral resources or whatever. Okay, so moving on. Yeah, this is the biggie. This is the financial account, and you can see all the various categories are described, except a new one, which is financial derivative assets. So financial derivative assets. Just think of them as being, financial securities. But, yep, everything's there. Oh, there we are. Other investment, loans, deposits of foreign currency or whatever, trade credits. That's talking about things like letters of credit. Don't really teach much about that. It's quite important. All right.